first thing you got to do is make sure you sign the login. So this is our display right now. The first thing you got to do is, after you sign the login book, is start removing chips.
Just like the regular install.
Okay, I lied. First thing you do is take your pictures left, right, and center for before. Another thing you want to do is, before you do anything, take a picture of the damage.
Just kind of take
Review.
Oh, here. Which you'll see them more when you take these off.
Okay, so after we've checked in with the manager, we have checked the display for damage, and we've taken pictures of the display for before and taken pictures of the damage. We want to locate a spot to work. Almost all these sites are going to have a big back aisle like this to work in. Just check with your store personnel and make sure it's okay we work back here, but this will be the best spot to work. All right, we're going to remove the toe kick. There are 6 screws. All right, so we actually just hand moved this out. We did not take off the toe kick, but as you'll see, there's a plastic backer. You're just gonna remove those, set them down, and then we're gonna locate the
Screws right here.
screws right there.
And there's another set over there.
Okay.
And then there's, looks like there would be some in the middle, but there isn't.
So typically there's about 6 screws, but there looks like there's just 4 here.
Yeah, looks like
Okay.
4.
That's how we get the panel out.
You don't really, you only need a handful of them.
Okay, once we have the back removed or loosened, again, some stores might have this backer right here, some may not. You want to make sure you have an impact driver that's short to get these bottom screws out, but they're all going to look a little different behind here. And then we're going to remove this, which we talked about earlier. Has these you just loosen by thumb, and then there's a screw in there. That also gives you a handhold to lift it off with. We're going to try removing this because we think we can keep an angle to keep the paint chips in. That'll save us a lot of time and hassle if we can keep all the paint chips in, except for those up there, because we're going to remove those when we put the adhesive backer on.
You gotta lift up to get over this.
You got to lift up to get over that bracket right there. You do have a nice handhold there. Put it on a cart and then keep it at a good angle so your chips don't come out. I'd take it backwards from there, Brian, because we've got a pallet jack over here. So now we're removed. We're gonna take this back section right here and set up shop. Now the first thing we have to do is remove that, 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 and that. And then we're gonna pull those out. These have Christmas tree clips in them. We gotta remove those. We're gonna take the brochures out as well. We're gonna try to keep everything else in for a run here except for these, because that's gonna come out too. So the first thing we're gonna do is get in here with a hex drive. Remove these nuts in there. You're gonna want your other person to be up here holding this. That removes this. Now we can take off these paint chips. You will be provided with a planogram that shows you the order these go in, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to take a picture as well so you know and have something to reference for. Might make it quicker. It's my suggestion that you get a magnetic mechanics bowl where everything will stick. We are going to provide a baggie, but you can drop those screws right down into a magnetic bowl. Get that. Some sort of box to put those into, maybe. I went ahead and just staged these in the right order. So when we go to put them back on, they're in the right order. Now remember, when you go to put these back on, the top row has to go back on first.
Anyways, holding the acrylic.
All right, now we're taking these acrylics off. Again, it's that one, that one, that one, that one. And then we're gonna remove these Christmas tree clips.
Maybe he's got it in his pocket.
What?
The knife?
We brought the knife in, I'm pretty sure. I think.
It was with our tools.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay. All right, now we're gonna remove the Christmas tree clips. You just punched them out from the back, and then using this tool. I would probably try to grab those from the front side if you can, just so we don't break that acrylic. Be very careful with these acrylics when you're removing them. Okay, so all of our acrylics are off. Now we're ready to lay it flat and remove this portion. This is what we're taking off. It's one piece, so we're gonna have to cut it. So we're taking out this, and we're gonna make our own table with it.
The rest of them won't have that, right?
No.
We put that on here.
Yeah, yeah. Are we gonna place it over here now to cut it?
You do. It's in your pocket.
No.
Top of the garbage bin is a good idea as well.
You know, it's higher and it's straight and it'll just go, right?
Yeah. Let's use this. Lesson learned. As you said, don't trust that. Don't trust that
Yeah,
cart.
go right over there.
We're actually going to use the dumpster. I don't know if you're going to have access to one of these, but if you do, this is probably the way to go because it's portable and better height and level.
Yeah, I would suggest trying to find one for sure.
Okay.
I'm sure they've got to have more than one in
Yep.
this place.
So the suggestion would be to try to find one of these dump bins. Let's move this out of the way. And now we gotta take off this bottom runner. Four screws. All right, our bottom runner is removed. Now we have to cut. Mo's starting over here because this gets up underneath this plastic. You have to be very careful when doing this. Simply because that plastic will break. So we're just cutting this off.
Both guys.
Make sure you have two knives, as both people should be doing this part. It'll just increase your productivity.
Here, just so you can see it. There is tape. 2 pieces of tape there.
In all of them, there's gonna be 2 pieces of tape.
over
All
here,
right, so we
there's
gotta
no
remove that tape.
It comes off pretty easily.
Still might want some Goo Gone with you,
Yeah.
just in case. All right, as you can see, that comes out from under there. Nope. That's going to be cut too. Make sure you keep your area clean too. Get stuff thrown away, get your trash thrown away. I'm gonna cut off of this and come back when we have it close to being removed. So you're gonna have to work around these corners. Just be very careful not to cut yourself. Be patient, do not break the acrylics. Just take your time, it'll come up. Every store is gonna probably be just a little different. Okay, so we removed our graphic. We did run into a situation where the store looks like they broke one of the acrylics and super glued it. So our fix is to do the exact same thing they did. So you might run into a situation where we have to super glue something back into place like they did, and that's okay. But now we are ready for our overlay. So we'll get on that. I would say to get from the time we got here to this right here, we are probably at about 15 minutes. Anybody think that this has been more than 15 minutes to get to this stage?
Ray's got a timer. It's probably around 20, 25.
20, 25? Okay. This is the size of our box. 60 by 24 by 6 or 8, something like that. Holds 20 stores. Easily fit in the back seat of a car. You can probably get 40 stores in a car.
26
It does look like we were around 25 minutes to get here, get set up,
in his way.
get things moved, and get to this stage. So now we're going to, apply the graphic.
Did you fix the
All right, so after we played around in the shop, we figured out the best graphic to start with is the center graphic. So there are 3 graphics. Make sure you take the holes out, make sure they're punched out before you put this in place. Has an adhesive backer on it. And did we decide we were going to start from an end or the middle? Where did we decide we just start?
We're going to start from the side.
We're going to start from an end. We're going to line up our holes.
Yep. So we'll start over here. I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mo. Do this over here.
You do the work on because
Little trick is to take your Christmas tree clips and put them in the holes. That keeps them somewhat lined up, but you can't rely 100% on that because they still do move a little bit. So just put the tip in there just a little bit like that. Just want to be able to get them out nice and easily. Okay. Still going to move a little, so we got to pay attention to that. So the key is we want to keep a nice straight line on the edge, and you're going to start from one end and work your way across. Wouldn't hurt to have something to cut your paper with right next to you. See how he's tearing it. You do have some play with this, meaning you can pick it up, but once you press hard and hold it down for 15-20 seconds, it's not moving. So make sure you don't press until you have it exactly how you want it. He's just lightly setting it. It is not all the way down. We could pick this up and move it if we needed to. What we're looking for is to keep our seams looking as clean as possible. All right, make sure you peel it back to the middle, because you won't be able to, once it's set, you're not going to be able to get behind there. We're going to tear off more coming this way. Again, your second set of hands can be your helper with this. This is really a one-man job with the second person kind of holding pressure, keeping it tight over on this side. Keep our lines clean. Make sure our holes are lined up, which they look really good. So we can use our holes as kind of a guide. Now, mind you, this is the third time that we've done this, so don't be distraught if you don't get this on your first go. Now we want to leave this piece right here loose, because we want to be able to line up this seam up here. Okay, now we're doing the bottom piece. We're going to punch out our holes down there. So this is going to come from the factory this way. There's going to be this extra piece of adhesive. You're going to have to trim that off with a knife very carefully. Once it's down and adhered, just come back through with a knife, cut that piece off after you're all lined up and down. And come back through, cut this piece off. You'll see that right there.
No, not good.
You pushed him off, but there you go.
It's not good. It's this side.
No,
Hold on.
you gotta line up. It's pulling over there, that's why. You gotta come this way a little bit.
Okay. Not the camera this way.
There you go.
He has a little crook in the top part.
These thin pieces will rip, so you cannot put too much pressure on them down at the bottom. This right here will rip in half.
That's like you look at.
That's what I'm talking about being subjective. I mean, it's going to be incredibly difficult to get all the seams perfect. You're talking about 12.
Luckily, that one's behind, so
Yeah.
it's not as crippled. Yes.
Okay, we are pulling the paper off the back from this side to that side. Second installer's over there holding that side tight. First installer's over here working that way, kind of peeling the paper as you go, lining up your seams. And that looks really nice. What's your clock say right now, Maria, to this point? I know we had to stop and do a couple field adjustments.
48.
We're at 48 minutes, and we're basically now to where we're putting the stuff back on and getting ready to put it back in. Make sure you work down the graphic, get the adhesive to stick. Make sure you have clean hands, and also make sure you have a Windex or rag or some easy cleaner to put on there.
Little problem.
Okay, so now we're putting back on our chips. Again, we were able to do this without removing any of the chips. It's very important you keep an angle on the board so the chips don't fall out, because that will absolutely ruin your day if these fall out, because we have to have them back in correctly. So pay very close attention to the angle of the board, making sure the chips don't come out. You also, when you put the chips, the acrylics back on for the chips up top, you have to start with the bottom row when you take it off and the top row when you put it on. Also, do not use an impact wrench to do this. Make sure you're using an adjustable drill that has a different clutch on it, so you can do the lightest setting, because an impact will go right through that acrylic. You will get a planogram. It's pretty simple. 60 through 64 on the top, 65 through 69 on the bottom. So if you're rearranging them, it's 65, 66, 67, 68, 69 left to right. Also, if you take a picture beforehand, you can just reference that. What Mo is doing is lightly putting those in and then pulling them up so they're all flush, because there is some play in that hole. So. Quick note, when you take off these posts that are up there, when you're removing it from the board, there's a screw in here. Your best bet, here, hold that and show. Unscrew that.
That and the washer.
So this looks like this on the board. Then you're taking that screw out that's right there. Then the advice is take that washer, put it back on there, thread it into here, and store it in your magnetic bowl or the bag like that, so you don't lose your screws. So we are also going to we're going to wear name tags in here, guys. We'll figure that out. Just let people know we're here to work. So now that we've completed putting those acrylics back on, we still have to put the J channel for the bottom, which protects the bottom of the display, and then the J panel that covers the shroud that covers those screws. So once we have that done, we can put her back in place. Start putting back on the other posts. Now this shroud up here takes a hex driver. We'll sort that out and let you know what size it is. Hey, one thing we've noticed is that there's a lot of traffic where we're working. So you might just want to go ahead and come back here towards the lumber barn. If it's attached like this, a lot of times it's garden that's attached. It could be lumber. You come back here and work. You'll have a lot more room to work. So that would probably be my suggestion. Find one of, you could even use some trash cans maybe to set it on, but find one of those rolling bins, bring it back where there's no traffic, and work from there. All right, so we got the J channel and the shroud back on. Now we're gonna take this back to our cart. Again, don't trust these carts. We did have it slip, kind of like that. Looks like it's in place now, but just got to be very careful. These are MDF board that will splinter. Now we got to put our front acrylics back on and our shroud. All right, somebody holds that on. Got a little bit of an angle. too big or is it the right one?
Yeah, I don't have it the same size. I don't know why. I think it's 4 of them.
Here, take the angles this way. You getting it?
It's on there.
Where is the bucket?
On the second in the bag. Where's the hardware bag?
All right, so a little trick to putting these acrylics back on is to pull the graphic up halfway. Have somebody start the screw from the other side. Go ahead and start it through. Find it.
Yep.
And then set it. It's easier if you have the gun on it ready to go and screw it in. Again, you're going to want to set this with
That's it.
No.
That's it.
not with a impact gun.
Like no tension at all.
You want no tension on these. You want to use just a drill that has a gauge on how heavy the depth is.
Kitchen goes on top.
Yeah, kitchen and bedroom.
Kitchen goes on top. By the way, these are recycling bins. There is a sign that says recycling bin goes here. So if we do take the recycling bin and use it, we want to make sure it goes back where we found it. Because we've had a couple people come by wanting to use it while we were using it. So now we're set and ready to put this back in the display. Where are we at, Maria, time-wise right now? We're at 67 minutes right now.
The trim.
Trim right there. There you go.
There you go. Now you gotta go up.
Can I find something for my hand?
What are we going over here?
It should be fine. It should just tip right
Oh,
back.
right there?
Yeah, I think we're good, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just that front metal lip you gotta get up and over.
All right, so now we're back in there. Now all we have to do
Somebody
is
has to hold this from the front.
push pin these.
The screws in the back.
You should screw for the back.
I really think your best bet here is to have a magnetic bowl instead of using a bag, because accessing the screws and everything is much easier if they're right there in front of you in that bowl. The Menards should have a magnetic bowl in the mechanic section. You can go back and if you reach in here and feel for it, you'll see where it goes.
It doesn't matter.
You gotta find the.
Yeah, you gotta find the shim.
Yeah, so here you can see the wood.
Okay. Anyone?
Yeah.
Somebody has pressure on the front. That's good. We had 4 screws here. You might have 6. Just put back whatever you have. Finish it up. Now, all you have left to do is take your pictures and get your sign off complete. Upload your pictures and your sign off to the box link that you'll have, and then you can leave. But do not leave without photos or a sign off, as you will have to go back and get that at some point. We have to have that same day. So that's what it looks like. And we were at about an hour and 20 minutes there, and we had some traffic, so we definitely could cut off 20 minutes of that, if not more. So that's it. One final note, make sure you have your rag and your cleaner, and you clean it all off, make it look nice.
The backing off too, which will make it easier.
All right, here's what we are considering right now. Still installing the middle piece, but hold on, I'm doing this, I'm pulling this back. Making a small cut here, and a small cut here, as such.
Right there. Right on the inside of the bend.
Right on the inside of the turn.
So I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay,
So that should
that's
still.
cut. Then we're left, hold that piece up, Mo. No, hold that little L up to, then we're left with that for that bottom corner. And then another cut here. What this is gonna do is give us a little more, a little better seam on this corner and over there. And the graphic is gonna cover up this seam. So